Roxy is actually a friend of mine. She organizes the Agave Fest in Prague. You should go there. It's really good. And she organizes a big Dia de Muertos in Prague as well. And it's like the chicks are super good. So everybody should visit Prague at some point, especially the agave culture there. However, it's really a pleasure to welcome Christian Schrader as the last talk for today. Christian and I, we have a little bit of a common story because Christian, we were more or less the same time with the agaves, and he's active in Berlin. And Louis Cosme, he's active in Berlin as an importer. We cross roads a lot of times. We are quite good friends, and he focused a little bit as well as the title says already. Agave spirits outside the certification, because there's a lot of agave certification. A lot of now it's getting serious. Now you have to concentrate, brother, because if not, he will punch you. He's the expert man of Alipus. He knows a lot. So if he makes mistakes, he's gone. Exactly. Because as I said, there are a lot of agave distillates outside the certification. So that's interesting and important as well to mention, because agave distillates it's much more than only tequila and mezcal.
And ridiculous hats.
And ridiculous hats, exactly. And his work is really groundwork, super valuable. And that's why I would like to give the word. You're doing really a great job, honestly. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the category as well. And that's why I'm glad that we at Cantina could give you as well a little bit of space that you speak about this topic as well. Enjoy the next hour with Christian. Whatever, I think if you've got a question you can ask to this guy. He knows really a lot. So the word is yours. Have fun.
Thank you very much. I have the pleasure to know already some of you, and it is a pleasure as well to be here at the Agave Embassy to ramble a little bit about my topic, which is products outside the denomination of origin. Should I make it loud? You can also scream. It's fine. Uno, dos, tres, probando. ¿Otra vez o qué onda? ¿Me gusta? ¿Cómo se escucha? ¿Todo bien? Alright. So yeah, the idea of course of having this talk is to help us understand the crossroads about Mexican spirits and how some brands, some expressions really fall through the cracks of the standardization or the denominations of origin, might that be of tequila, mezcal, or the more recent ones of Garcia, Canora, and so on. Some of the expressions here have been already enjoyed by some of you, so let's get going. A little bit of your history, I think is also important to share. There has been already a couple of, I would say advantage in time for other denominations to grow and expand throughout the world. Something that a lot of people don't know and I find very interesting is like the rise of tequila, what really gave it this world work stage. And when you get into the reading and understanding more about like the history of things, a lot of it has to do with the golden age of Mexican cinema. And this conversation, hello, you can join us. So around the Second World War, there was a lot of things going on, in the world. And it was a really nice opportunity for what I think is now the iconization of Mexican culture. We're trying to remove ourselves from that, but it had a lot to do with that chapel Was hanging out in the bars, taking all the ladies, um, drinking some booze, and this booze was, of course, tequila. So you had this kind of like, oh, we want to have something like that in Mexican culture and so on. So things went off into, this agave expression. And then we had the intention of doing the standardization for tequila. We have a little bit of story there about like how the tequila started. You can already put the first round if you want to. Thank you. So the original standard is of course 100% tequila or 100% agave. And as demand has been growing, things have been also kind of like changing according to satisfy that demand. When we have here a little bit of the numbers, very easy, simplified on how things started and how things have been, let's say, creating their own evolution into what I believe is a little bit of dilution of the category itself. Oops. So yeah, of course, you have like a 100% agave. Most of brands moved into what's this 70-30%, which I think is actually a quite good ratio if you want to sell a little bit more volume and keep a lot of the essence of the primary raw material, which is tequila, however. But the growth keeps giving, and so what we had was further dilution of the category, which is now for many brands around 51 agave, which is the majority of it, and the rest being other sugars, which I think is like a sticky thing now. You don't need to, especially really say which other sugars you're using, and this becomes a problem because we have a situation where people are like, oh wow, I'm gonna have some agave, I'm gonna have some fun, as you already know, connoisseurs. And agave, it's a spirit that lifts you up, it's an upper. And having this illusion of things, you will have that, but inevitably there will be some consequences the next day, as we also have proven in the. And you have this kind of like very early challenger, very early on in the game of the tequila game, who, by many different reasons, decided not to be certified and to keep the things as pure as possible. What you guys have in the glass right now, it's 100% Chato from the state of Jalisco. Chato is a subspecies of the Angustifolia. In Mexico, there's many names for the same plant. This can be Chato, Chico Real, Pacifica, Espadilla, I can go on and on. And the Chato is a variety that is endemic to the state of Jalisco, also kind of lost. But like this family steals harvest and has a good amount of land to grow this variety, which I think is exceptional. So you have a tequila that is kind of like aiming to stay very rooted at what it was, like the early tequilas, which were all proof at 46 ABV. And I don't know, for you guys, is it familiar more to tequila, or more familiar to what you would consider a mezcal? Feel free to share. I think there's another microphone somewhere there. No opinions?
Let's go.
More mezcal? What do you think, Victor? More tequila. The Caballito is an incredible brand, and they were really like kind of like the first ones that decided, okay, we're just not going to take part in the elimination. There's various numerous of reasons, but one of them had to do with this plant, because if you want to make a tequila, you cannot use this plant, although this plant is endemic to the state of Jalisco and also very local to the area where they are, which is 15 minutes away from tequila. Amatitlán is also known as the birthplace of tequila, but that's a different story. So, yeah, Caballito Cerrero, incredible brand, incredible culture behind the product. And then we have a little bit of more what moves on into into what we know now as mezcal, which was the denomination was granted on '95. We think mezcal is kind of like we always speak about the heritage and the many generations of mezcaleros that have been doing it for so long. But when people speak about like when was the denomination given, '95. It's kind of like not a long time ago. The tradition exists a couple of years more than that, a couple of generations. Some people say 300 years. I heard yesterday from somebody 400 years, and I'm like, all right. But that's it with the denomination. And what happened at the time was that the intention of having a new denomination was okay. What do we have already? It was the tequila denomination. So a lot of the intention of having the new denomination was like, okay, this works. Let's do it like a little copy paste from the previous denomination and put it into the new one. Mezcal, as you probably all well know, is a category super complex in terms of the variety of production, raw material, technique, etc. And the production of tequila is something that has moved a little more into technification or industrialization is another word maybe for it. And mezcal is, and in my very personal opinion, shall remain a pre-industrial product to hold this quality that we love and enjoy. It's a lot of things that you can do in the middle, but not all the gloves fit in the same hand. That's kind of like the intention that I want to convey here. And then of course you have like geeky stuff that doesn't fit really into the category. You have a very expensive mezcal. You would not have the chance to be certified because of some parameters that like push you into changing the product. We're ready for the next one. I think a cool story to convey. I mean, most of all you guys know this brand. It's some of these brands that have been really rooted on tradition, and they were certified for many years. And then at some point, something starts to not fit. You start to have a different views on how you want to convey your product into the market. And the denomination didn't really fit so well for the structure of this brand. Vermeer is a brand that is well known in the market, and they hold a lot of tradition, and they have honestly incredible stuff, incredible liquid. So the decision was also taken, like, hey, we need to step down for this because it no longer represents us. And I think that was a really change, like a really big. It's not that the domination is a bad thing, but I think also there's products and brands that have all the cards to choose not to be in this kind of like structure. Can we have one too, please? But I also forgot to say salud.
Salted.
Maybe this takes the edge off. I'm so very nervous. Yeah, so for me, in the way I see it, is like, wow, that was a bold move back in the day. Do you remember when did they choose to move away from the denomination? After COVID? Please.
At some point they were doing both. They were sending some products as destilado de agave, sometimes as mezcal. The reason is because sometimes they didn't go through the certification process because of metal environment, more than anything.
Yeah, but then would you say that the quality changed?
No, it's always an amazing product. It's weird to not call it mezcal.
Yeah, Yeah, I think I agree. It has been like a kind of like adapting the reality to it. But you know, if the quality doesn't change, then what's the harm of being in or out of the nomination? And I think it's a very personal decision. You know, there's a lot of like little elements that have to do maybe with not being aligned with how things are being done within the denomination. For other brands, it really works. You know, because it like there's this idea that a denomination protects the quality, you know, for the end consumer. I believe this, you know, this is for other people to decide as well. And then you have, of course, thank you, bro. Other expressions, other brands that have, they're, you know, maybe like a younger brand that is also very focused on quality. And from day one, they were like, we don't feel the need to do the certification ourselves because we have, you know, other, let's say, structures that control the quality of the product. And these structures tend to be usually like the places where the product is made and consumed. So in Neta you have I'm sorry, in Michoacán, or Michoacán, you have a range of producers that they all do incredible stuff. They all try the spirits that others produce, and it is the old people, the young generations, and everybody that has the luck to go and visit the location. Thank you. To see how they're really like taking the lead in the quality. And again, these people were the ones that were like kind of like checking the quality, because imagine before the elimination situation, okay, we're making this product and my community, my neighbors are gonna buy it from me. So I can only mess it up once. The producers and the people that live there already know what's the taste, what are people used to try, like in terms of the quality, alcoholic elevation, the time, and the effort that it takes to make the mezcal without taking the shortcuts that we also see, you know, in other structures on production. And I think it's like, you know, a good decision to be like, wait, let's inform ourselves with the people that are actually making the juice for us and see how they feel about it. So this town in Michoacán opted out to not do anything and regarding the certification. And I just think it's like a very, I mean, it's a very good example of you know, who can mediate the quality. It's the people that have been drinking it for hundreds of years, you know? Not necessarily another, you know, organism that regulates the products. Well, a little bit of this brand maybe worth sharing. It's like the Neta family. It's composed around 25 producers. And the brand has a very easy pitch. It's like we will buy most of everything that you produce with one condition. It needs to be incredible. So every producer that is in this town is not invested in making always thousands of espadines or having only one product. They produce what they want. They can do something very esoteric, complex, or they can do an espadín. They choose what they make, and it is the brand and the consumers, like myself or importers, that are like, yeah, sure, I'll buy this 70-liter batch or this 300 batch. So everything is batched in small quantities, and it really, you know, invites you to collect some of the products, because, you know, once this espadín is gone, like in the case of the beer Celso Candido, producer who passed away 2 months ago. It's like, you know, when a batch goes, it goes. You know, there's no repeating, and I think that's a lot of the charm that mezcal has and carries. That each expression is unique, and the idea is not to repeat it so often. So the brand really conveys this. They have also done this cisterna of water captation, and it serves the purpose of the production. There's a lot of liters that are being required to make 1 liter of mezcal. Something around like 10 10,000 liters per batch, something like this. Yeah, that's per batch. So yeah, they did this with an NGO called Isla Urbana. Yes, shoot.
Yes, you're saying that Neta has only one rule, which is it needs to be an incredible breed of agave. But does it mean that if you are under the certification, if you are switching agave, it means that you need to have a dedicated bottling, a dedicated labeling? What is the reason for Neta deciding not to choose certification, to have freedom regarding the breed of agave?
Thank you, that's a great question. The decision of Neta really takes place in the sense that the basic producers in the community are always now checking the quality of everything. Of course, as well as the brand. It's a lot of work when you always shifting through different expressions or different agaves. There's a lot of work on the etiquette that needs to be done. And the decision really takes place of maybe a little bit of the costs of production or certifying, I'm sorry. If you're making a batch that is 70 liters or 100, it's not the same as if you're making a batch that is like, bigger. The cost of certification doesn't really see, doesn't matter how big or how small it is. And these costs usually are transferred to the end consumer. So the idea of making, let's say, like these small batches has a better sustainability in this sense, where instead of paying to our regulatory council to give us beautiful holograms that have traceability and all of this, why not we have everything public? If you check out the little website of Neta, it's very thorough. There's a lot. You can find which agaves are farming or which type of soils, which releases are being sold to which markets, the result of this or that distributor. So there's a lot of traceability on the products. Something that we don't see very often in mezcal productions outside the fact sheets that are on the back of the bottles. And kind of looking back to this situation of the mezcaleros, they giving them the option to be like at the front and the center of the culture of mezcal, for them to not just deciding on the quality or the amount or the size of the batch or whatever, but really about the parameters of really going for the quality. Quality comes first, and a producer once told me like, oh, this is super, super good, like why are you not making more? Like, it could be more, but if I do more this year, we will have less next year. So it's like, okay, bounded by the size, of the production that they have, their gain, the time of the agaves, and can be respectful about not trying to take the shortcuts of accelerating or from buying quickly. The Rumes Tamaulipas is a nice example of producers that decide also not to be in the denomination, not just because the denomination doesn't fit to the parameters, but remoteness is also a big factor for choosing not to certify. The Rumes Tamaulipas Tamaulipas is in a state that is very further north, close to the Mexican Gulf or the American Gulf, as some people call it. And it's an area that is fairly remote, maybe a little bit dangerous as well. And there's not really any certifier that chooses to go to Tamaulipas every other week. Usually, if you want to certify something like this in that area, one certifier will come to certify everything once a month, if you're lucky. Some producers don't really go to remote areas of Mexico because, there's some areas that are called Tierra Caliente in Mexico. And it's simply places that, people cannot reach so easily. So these factors are important as well It's not just opting out, it's the complexity of actually having somebody that comes and certifies. The regulatory council of Mezcal is at capacity with crazy growth. I don't know how many brands of Mezcal are nowadays. I mean, you have that number, Victor? It's thousands. Yeah, something like that, 7,000. It's a crazy number. In Mexico, I think a lot of people don't even mention like the size of the country, but Mexico is a big country, and there's simply not enough manpower within the denomination and the regulatory council, the CRM, to go to these regions. So that's also something that is simply out of capacity. And this brand has different expressions from different states. Of course, the expressions from Oaxaca certified, and Michoacan, they're all certified because there's a lot of possibility to make the certification take place. But the Rubes Tamaulipas and the Rubes Guerrero, I believe, are not certified. So we have a brand that has both that certifies and has a couple of products that are not certified. So there's a lot of like other exceptions to the for the opting out of not being certified as Mezcal, which I think are interesting. And it's not always like we love this, we love being certified or we hate it. Sometimes it's just a structured good. I was very pleasantly surprised to see somebody pouring Campanilla yesterday here. And we have it, we brought it back. Campanilla is also a beautiful example of this situation of producers that are really not so much into the growth and making a lot of mezcal, but they are really vested in the idea of having incredibly quality mezcal that is very rooted to very ancient technical production. When you're producing in this like style with this type of agaves, as I mentioned, it's a wild agave that requires somewhere between 15 and 25 years to mature. And then it's a little bit complex to explain how the Campanilla distillation works. Basically, it's internal condensation, and there's no way of creating the cuts to create your final product, or the product kind of comes all together. So when you put this to a test, the ethanol gets a little bit higher, a little bit higher than what the norm for certified mezcal calls for. There's no chance for them to really be in there without altering the product itself. And the brand is really invested in making these things prevail. There's 3 families that distill this style of production in the world. It's in a tiny place called Palmar Segundo in San Luis Potosí, also one of the smallest states of Mexico. And let's give it a try. Gernot? Gernot? Thank you. Rubes Tamaulipas, yeah. Yeah, so Campanilla is making, somewhere around 100 liters a month. That's the production they're pushing. If everything goes perfectly well, they can do around 1,000 liters a year with the style of production that they, let's say, save more. So Campanilla is kind of like a rarity of mezcal, something that is not very easy to find. And I think it's delicious. It's a lot of complexity. You can tell me if you like it.
Thank you.
Una pregunta, vale, muy bien.
What you're explaining us is that these are hyper local techniques, no? Each of them are choosing their own methods, they stick to their traditions. And what I found in my 15 years in this industry with London and Prague is that Europeans, they want consistency and they want to have credibility on their product. They want this consistency because they are stick to the rules. As a Mexican, I think we are a little bit flexible. We bend with the rules and we try to keep them somehow. So I'm used to this and I'm not surprised by this. And my question is the market ready for this? Or we have to educate them? They are open to?
Thank you, that's a great one. I think the market is kind of ready for it since we're leaving the boom on mezcal and things are moving in a direction that I believe doesn't really represent so much what mezcal is before the boom, or when people fall in love with mezcal and then you see that the market is moving in a different direction. Like the different direction might be like, as you say, like standardizing things, watering down the product to 40 ABV, to really like be close to something that it's in the price range of other products that people are used to. I think oftentimes the consumer doesn't know what they want, and it's good to have the time to educate the consumer. When you go into this realm, of complexity with agaves, there's no short answers. Like this is better, this is worse, there's always something for somebody. But I think it's important to understand that some products really carry a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of tradition, and these things cannot be explained in a beautiful PDF or fact sheet. That's why we also decided to keep this bottle very minimalist, because you cannot put all the information that a product like this carries. I believe that the consumer is ready, and I believe that it's something that takes time. Exactly, like we a lot of us are very kind of just locked into this tradition and this complexity of the agave. Some people call it the rabbit hole. I think it's important to keep exploring, stay super curious as much as you can, in order to just open the perception of you and from others. And I believe this market for everybody. Of course, this is slower and more hard to do, but to go in a direction that might be, a little bit more commercially available, let's put it like that. But you need to have this love products, because if these families stop doing the production, we might lose something important, I think that's why it's kind of the idea of having this conversation where we can really openly discussion and being like, hey, I like this, or I don't, but just give it a chance, Any other questions about Campanilla? No, bueno.
Can we find this product in Germany?
This product is in Germany. There's a ridiculous small amount batch. There's 2 expressions that came. I think the batches were 96 bottles, something like this. Because as I share with you guys, this family is making 1,000 liters a year. That's not really a lot. So, of course, the product is not going to be 39.99 euros or something like this, but it has really to do with the culture of things. But yeah, you can find it. Thank you, Victor. It's kind of like a love product, a love importation, and I think this product just deserves more time out there. And I think this is the time, to kind of push this sort of middle products that are maybe falling to the cracks of what denomination is or should be. In my personal opinion, and also a professional view, these products really open up the narrative of mezcal where things don't really need to fit into certain parameters. And these are like the core products, you know, like the core values that need to be always on site when you're looking for something that is or that has been opt out for certification by tequila or mezcal. And usually these products convey a lot of information, you know, like things like the name of the maestro mezcalero, the alcoholic graduation, often being written with pen at the end, you know, because like, some batches are like this, some batches are like that, and you always want to be, you know, writing that accordingly. Information about the agaves and all the production process, of course. I believe this is like a super easy way to distinguish something that is good and something that is moving in another direction. Yeah, so like this is kind of like my wrap up with what I think is important for these sort of products, to keep all of these things in mind when you decide to buy something for your bar or consume something. Like really try to look beyond the nice bottles or the skillful marketing of the brands.
Thank you.
Any favorites?
Any favorites? Yeah, Christian, thank you very much for your talk. I think that was quite enlightening, going a bit beyond the borders and what the problem actually a little bit of the certification and non-certification is, and the cultural clash inside everything. It's tough. At the end, it's tough because it's capitalism versus tradition. Which way do you want to go? Yeah, do you want to earn money? You don't want to earn money. How do you find kind of like a pathway somehow in between? And the sweet line in between is probably the biggest problem. And Graciela actually yesterday, Graciela from Minero, actually said it quite well yesterday, in my opinion, because the world is more polarized into black and white, but they're missing out the gray parts. And 90% of the world probably is gray. It's not black and it's not white. And this is as well with Club Cantina something what we want to do. Yeah? So the position is like, okay, good, we're going beyond, taking the case of Christian, a little bit the certification is right, and it's good to show that. On the other side, being certified and trying to make a business out of it is fine as well. And that's what I said, there's no, it's not black and white, it's something in between. However, I guess the reason why we all are doing this in a way is because it's a business. Yeah? Even for the communities, it's a business. Yeah, because otherwise they would not do it. They would, if they would not market it, they would not sell it. And as soon as you kind of like take a dime for selling a product, probably you have a business in a way. And maintaining the tradition somehow is really, really important, and that's what I guess we all do. And as well, the showcase of Club Cantina is giving this platform to all of us, because there are a lot of nuances in this gray area, and they're all worth to be heard of. So yeah, that was our talks for today. Thank you very much, Christian, again, for the great product. Tomorrow we have only 2 talks as far as I know. So there will be a panel talk with myself by Luke Slayer. Interesting area, like facing like with Victor from Alipus and Pedro Quintanilla from Marca Negra. It's at 1. So it's actually a set. Different, she will ask us questions. Let's see what the outcome will be. And then we've got another icon, Sofia Quebec, to speak about different tequilas production, the challenges. Yeah, it would be lovely if you could be here tomorrow as well and listen to all of our seminars, because so far it was really a great honor. Since we were very well received again. Thank you for all your patience, for your time. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great night. If I don't have, do you have an event tonight? No, you had one yesterday. You had the one yesterday. You had the one yesterday. There are several events around. There are a lot of events. I mean, some people is doing one in Truffle Creek if you want to show around. Yeah? Truffle Creek. You have one in Stagali. Stagali, Alipur has one in Stagali. As well, a great location. So this would be 2 mezcal events for tonight, or any other. So yeah, just gonna do it.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. Exactly. Thank you guys. I hope to see you tomorrow. Again, Christian. Thank you. Thanks.